Hey, can we talk about ChatGPT? Have you ever spent 3 hours with ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, DeepSeek, whatever your favorite LLM is, and felt less creative than when you started? I feel like even with the latest updates, it's been becoming worse and worse, right? And I was like, I think I finally figured out why, though, because I think when AI first came out, an LLM is a pattern searcher, right? So you ask it questions and it searches patterns and it brings you back what is the most likely reasonable response, but also it's trying to please you. So it does that too. However, what I realized as well was the idea of human in the loop is becoming more and more apparent, which is why I don't think that AI is going to take anyone's job anytime soon or make anyone dumber. AI works with like what you put in is what you get out. So if you put in trash, you get out trash. If you don't have the lived experience, the education to pull out what you need, it's not going to work for you, right? So let me paint this picture for you, right? We're going to use ChatGPT, but this works for any LLM. You open ChatGPT to help you with a project, right? You start refining, 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 you're tweaking, you're tweaking, you're tweaking. And 47 versions later, and I love it, like, especially like Claude, it would be like V27. And I'm like, how many versions am I about to use, right? And then also, if you're environmentally conscious and you're like SOS, like, did I really just do this 27 times, right? And one of the ideas of AI is like AI is not going anywhere, but it's like how do you better use AI, right? How do you make sure that you're not having 27 versions? How do you prompt better? Anyway, that's a tangent. But the reason why you keep doing all these versions is because none of them feel right, right? Like it's just you're trying to get that your voice, but also you're trying to get it polished, and it becomes a lot, right? So you've been working for hours, but you have nothing to actually deliver. You can't, whether you're trying to post online, whether you're trying to send a project to someone, it's just not cutting it, right? So there's one thing happening here that's literally the training you need, right? Like AI is kind of training you to use it for everything, right? Because it gives you so many different options and thoughts and processes, right? So you lean on it more, right? And it's training you need AI more. And I'll get into that in a little bit more, but like we'll keep that in a second and of how AI is training you to be dependent on it. Um and but also ultimately we're using AI to be more creative, but you end up being less confident in your own ideas, right? It's like make it make sense. And here's what's actually happening, right? The screen makes it easy to keep editing, to tweak just one more prompt. And especially with AI, it keeps telling you, oh, would you like me to do this? Would you like me to do that? And you're like, oh, yeah, that sounds great. The next thing you know, you have like 20 different versions of something when maybe the second one was good, right? There's no natural stopping point, right? The only time you stop is when your laptop possibly dies, right? And that's not good because that keeps you in a loop and you're never shipping anything the way you need to, right? You're outsourcing your thinking to a machine, right? Like, and every time you do this, your ideas stay in the AI space. It has this barrier between you and your idea, and it never sounds like you because in this it's not really yours. It's an amalgamation of different ideas and thoughts, which are great to learn from, but becomes really hard if you don't have a origin, right? And if it's not coming from you, it becomes hard to curate that, excuse me, to become what you need it to be, right? So if you remember what I mentioned earlier, I mentioned that AI is training you, right? And it's training and you're training yourself too to be dependent on AI. Your brain is learning, I can't decide what's good without asking AI, or I can't generate more ideas without AI, or I cannot be satisfied without filtering through AI. So at some point you have to realize for yourself like AI is a partner and you should use AI, but where do you draw the limits? Where do you, in essence, put the human back in the loop? Do you start the loop with the human? Do you bring the human in the middle? Like, what is the process that works for you, right? But there's something that you already own and probably costs about $3. It's so cheap and it's cheaper than AI and all that good stuff. And and it completely fixes this dependency. And no matter how you try to fix it with AI and how good you get with like prompting, it's never gonna like solve the issue, right? Any billion-dollar productivity app, it's not gonna fix this issue. And this might sound completely backwards, and you might be like, "No, girl, like we are trying to be in the digital age," but let just hear me out. You've come this far, so just hear me out. I use AI, and I use AI a lot for my work, my personal. I use AI a lot, but the thing that has helped me also is printing things out and writing things out, right? And part of that is because you need to introduce the humanness. You need to touch your work. You need to touch your ideas and your thoughts. And this has worked for me in several ways. When I was applying for jobs, I work in tech. When I was applying for jobs, I would use AI for interview prep and to understand what the problem I was solving for the job. But I would print it out, highlight, underline, rewrite key sentences and phrases, ask questions in the margins, and then go back and research that and then come and write the answers. And what that did is that by me like tangibly holding something, I was able to understand it better. Right. And by understanding it better, by the time I got to the interview, I was very confident. I wasn't just regurgitating what a machine told me. I was confident in what I was saying. Same thing with when I am creating a project plan or a curriculum for one of my clients in my 9 to 5, or for my business when I'm supporting a client and getting a job. I listen to what they have to say, and I take notes. If you're ever on a client call with me, I'm always taking notes, right? Because you want to bring your ideas back to the physical realm and kind of pull out this screen, right? And what does is that like when I write down key points and I read it out loud, I'm able to cement it more and play with it more in my own voice, right? Because when you go on the screen creates distance between you and your ideas, and paper makes them real. Excuse me. Speaking engages like multiple senses. You see it, you say it, you hear it, you're able to hear the nuances of what you're saying. And most importantly, it helps you to decode and decide what you want, what sounds good, what message you want, right? And this draft right now, is it good or not? What am I hearing that sounds off? What am I writing that sounds off? And from there, you're able to tweak it more. Right. So this isn't me saying like paper versus computer. It's both, right? What matters is like when you introduce them into the loop, right? You need three parts. You need yourself. You need the human. You need the human to start with your messy, your raw thinking, right? It's just organic off the dome. Right? You need that. It's really important. Then you need analog. And this, I will say, you start with the human and then you can go either way with this, right? You can either go analog and write it down first, right? To capture the idea, or you can go straight to the AI and use the dictation. I love using dictation where I'm speaking to the AI and saying, this is my idea. This is kind of the context of it. And these are the different thinkers I want to pull in, or these are the different ideas I want to pull in. Fine tune this for me. Is there anyone else who's doing this? Has it been done in the past, right? So I will go human to digital and then I will print that out to analog, you know? You can go digital to analog to digital. It's really up to you, right? So print it, write it, hold it, speak it out loud, right? And then the AI just refines and organizes for you. And then if you also want to use AI to pull in research, then you can do that. And obviously, Perplexity is the best for research because you can actually see cited sources, so you can check those sources and deepen your understanding and your knowledge. Whereas like other LLMs are tend to hallucinate. If you're going to use an LLM because you don't want to keep hopping around, I would say use Gemini, because Gemini is attached to Google. So it's pulling real sources in the moment, and it also allows you to speak to it and write to it, versus ChatGPT or Claude that are not, you can connect them to the internet, but it's not native, right? So just keep that in mind. And then once you do all this, back to the human. So truncated, it's human, analog, digital, back to human, or human, digital, analog, back to human, right? Read what the AI gave you, read it out loud, and circle what matters, highlight what matters, make it yours, right? And what happens here is that you see the pattern, you keep coming back to human. And that's not a bug. That's the whole point, that you as a human, you are the sauce. This is a bit of a tangent. I'll do another video on this, but really and truly, the people who will not get replaced by AI are people who have taste, who understand editing, right? And if you think about, even when you talk about money and people who have money, you talk about the nouveau rich or the new rich and the old money. And mainly the distinction between new rich and old rich is how they show their wealth. And old rich or wealth is quieter, right? They edit a lot. Right. It's the same thing with AI. People are always going to lean towards the people who are able to edit and refine and be clear. No, no bling, you know? So just keep that in mind, right? So the whole point is keeping you in the loop so you can refine it. Because the AI will give you 20 pages, probably really great information, but no one's going to read 20 pages, right? So without this loop, you have 3 to 4 hours of refining and nothing to actually send out to the world. So you feel drained because it's never done, right? And with human in the loop, with yourself in the loop, it becomes maybe 30 minutes of real work, right? Something you're proud of and you're happy to give your energy to and you're happy to share with other people, which is really important, right? So that $3 solution I mentioned, this notebook, right? Or printer paper, that's it, because computers never stop. They'll keep going until the battery dies, but you need boundaries. So create boundaries, right? And that's pretty much it. So like ultimately, what I'm saying in a nutshell is life interrupts you. You get hungry, your kid walks in, the dog does something, right? So when you're writing down things, when you're doing whatever, you get it down on paper and then you're able to move on. When you're using an AI, you're constantly iterating, 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 right? And that kind of kills creativity in the long run, right? Your body needs stopping points to process, right? And the chaos of real life allows that magic to happen because you're able to process things in the background. You're able to make connections that the AI is just spitting out so constantly and so rapidly that you may not be able to really appreciate, what's there, right? Um, so, and ultimately, my final point on this is I know this is still true because yes, AI is booming, but every day you go into Marshalls, TJ Maxx, whatever, there's stores, the paper stores. There's so many stores that just sell paper, you know? But so people still are writing, people still want this old school, right? So whether it's your journaling, whether you're putting sticky notes around your computer, these are all really helpful, right? So this isn't just about being productive, it's about staying irreplaceable in an AI world, right? The real transformation is AI can generate infinite content, but only you can decide what actually matters. Only you have taste, right? Only you understand the difference between high class and what we're calling right now is like AI slop, right? Um, and usually it happens when you're holding paper, right? When you're reading out loud and you're feeling it, right? So if you skip any part of the loop, the human, the analog, the digital, and you end up losing yourself. So uh, this is just my plea to you to not just stay in the digital loop. Um, so that way you're able to create. You're not just curating AI outputs, and your brain is getting worse at knowing what's actually good, but you are creating good, right? So the next time you're stuck in your AI spiral, set a timer for 5 minutes, print what you have, or write the key points by hand, and take a pen. Circle what actually matters to you, cross out what doesn't, highlight things that matter, and I promise you immediately know like what is good and what is bad and what is unique to you and what where your voice is shining through. Like you don't need another prompt, right? You need to make a decision, right? So AI is a tool, paper is a tool, but you are the loop that connects them, right? And this is how you stay irreplaceable. AI can keep generating, but only you can decide what matters. And that decision it happens off screen. It happens in real life in 3D. It does not happen with this filter that we call a screen, right? It's your hands, it's your voice, it's your senses ultimately, right? It's your five senses. So try it today. Then come tell me in the comments. Did you actually finish something? Were you proud of it? Did it take you shorter, but it was still really good? And again, this is AI and you as a partner, not just you writing alone or just using AI alone, right? Let me know what you think, and I will see you tomorrow.